Well, good afternoon on this Thursday afternoon. Thought I'd come on here and do a quick video, give everybody an update of what's going on. It's been a busy couple days and lots going on in the news. I'll mention a couple things and give you some things to pray about and a couple announcements. But hope you're enjoying your Thursday afternoon wherever you are. Some of you will be getting off from work soon, and some of you may already be off from work, and some of you may be like me, retired and not working. I wished I could. I'd give anything to be able to be out going and doing, but it's just not God's will right now. Still trying to get the old body geared back up and in full motion, so got a long ways to go to recover from all that we've been through here in the last couple of years, but I do hope you're having a good day, and we'll give just a few minutes here to see who logs in. There's something coming on. As soon as you log in, share this, please. Hit the share button and share this with your friends and family, and help us reach some new followers. We're trying to reach, I'd like to reach 200,000 views by the end of the 28-day month that our Facebook runs from 28-day months. So it registers our views and our audiences and our engagements, people that engage and interact with us. And so we hit 125,000 early this morning. And so at this pace, we're about 7,000 to 8,000 views a day. So we should be able to reach 2,000 views in 28 days. Somewhere near that anyway, or more. So 250,000 views is what I'm hoping to hit, at least 200,000, maybe 200,000 views. I'd like to do 250,000, but 200,000 for our first 28-day run, that would be great. We just started pushing our Facebook social media page and went public, and it's done real well. We're really pleased. Thank you for supporting us. And we've had a lot of good materials and things that we've been trying to download for you and keep you informed with, and some other things coming we'll be telling you about soon. So I'll see who's going to tune in here. I don't have many. Like I say, it wasn't a prepared planned video, so let's see who comes in here. See if you can contact some people. Let them know we're on the live stream now for just a few minutes. I want to talk to you. Trying to talk to my friends today. I'm sitting out on my back porch, and my neighbor is mowing his yard. You can see over there. You can hear him anyway in the background. He's mowing next to us here. My grass has got to be mowed this week. My guy comes on Saturday mornings to mow mine. So it's a beautiful day here in East Tennessee. I'm not sure what the temperature is. It's in the 70s, maybe 80. The sun is overcast. The sun's not glaring down. It's cloudy, overcast skies. And so let's see if we got anybody tuning in. Nobody's a couple logged in and logged out. I don't see anybody on here right now that has any names. If not, we'll do the video and you can watch it later. Anyway, I wanted to give everybody an update. These last 2 days have been doctor days. Hey, Deanie, hope you're doing well. CS, thank you for staying in touch with us and praying for us. The last 2 days have been doctor days. Yesterday, of course, we drove. It's an all-day trip to North Carolina, down to Winston, where my back doctor is and where all my surgeries and where they take care of my back. I've had that same doctor since 2001. So when we moved to Tennessee, we did not change back doctor. He's the best in the country. He's on sabbatical now with some family, dealing with family. Hey, David. And so he's not there. I saw Dr. Gilmore, which is one of his other doctors. But anyway, went down yesterday. My wife drove me down, and they did some injections. They put us in there and had to go under the x-ray. We had to do it in the surgical room. It's like a surgery. It's a short procedure, but they get you prepared and prepped, and then they put you under x-ray so you can see exactly where to go in with the needle. And once they get it in where they're looking for, then they inject that steroid into your back. Mine is in the S1, I had fusion at L4, L5, S1, but this S1 was giving me a problem now, which is below my fusion. It's really your tailbone down below that, affects your sciatic nerve. And the pain the last 2 months has been off the chart. So we finally had a cancellation. They called me and booked me to come in yesterday. So we went down and got there early. They took us in early, and we were gone early, so it didn't take long for the procedure. You had to wait a little while after you had the procedure to make sure you're not, doing any kind of stupid stuff like having seizures or passing out or dizzy or can't walk. And so once you're free to go, then we headed back up the road and stopped at a Chick-fil-A and got us a sandwich and then came on up the road. But that was yesterday, and so I felt bad all night. I didn't sleep well last night. I was dizzy, and I was nauseous all night long. I thought it was kind of strange. I've never had a problem with these injections. And so I had an appointment this morning with my cancer doctor. I see him, have a regular appointment with him, and then every 6 months they do a scan to make sure my cancer is under control. But they do blood work every 3 months. So my cancer doctor was early this morning at 8:45, 8:30, something like that. So we got over and did our blood work, and he gets some of the blood work back before he sees me. He's waiting on the blood count and a couple other things. I'll get the rest of it tomorrow. He was a little late coming in. He came in, he was kind of concerned. And he says, and my blood pressure was low. It was like 90 over 50, and it's never been that low. He said, your blood pressure is low, and he said, your blood count is extremely low. He said, I'm about to order some more tests. I said, I'm concerned something's not right. I said, I'm not feeling right. And I said, that explains why I'm so sluggish. I said, I can't hardly put one foot in front of the other. I'm really weak. He said, well, no wonder. He said, your blood count is really, really low. And he said, your blood pressure is really low. Your heart rate is high. Hey, Bethany said, but your blood pressure is high. Low, but your heart rate is high, but your blood count is really low. And I said, well, would it have anything to do with the fact that yesterday I had an injection in my lower spine in the S1 area? He says, yes. He said that they do an injection like steroids and what type thing. I said, yes. He said, okay. He said, I'm not worried now. He said, that's what did it. He said, those injections can cause your blood pressure to change. Most of the time it elevates, but it can lower, but he said the blood count is really low, and he said that does explain it. So he said, I'm not going to worry about it now. We'll let's see what happens. He said you should start feeling better in a day or so. It takes a while for that to get out of your system. But so that explained one thing, but my blood count was really low, so that explained why I was so sluggish. Hey, Faye, hope you're doing well. And so it's been 2 doctor days, so we're just I've been laying around since I come back from the doctor this morning. Really haven't felt good. Wife fixed me a little lunch, had a light lunch, well, not light lunch, it was a lot, but we stopped and got some fresh fruit and vegetables, strawberries and blackberries and cantaloupe and tomatoes, and so it was a good lunch meal. And she had a little bit of steak and gravy left over from the other day, so she put it over some toasted bread, and I had like a little open-faced sandwich with some fresh vegetables and fruits. So that was really good. So I've been laying around taking it easy. Hey, Gil Long, you and Ray down in Wilkesboro. I was thinking about y'all this week. Haven't talked to you in so long. We've just not been going out. We've been in. It's been doctors the last couple of months. It's been in and out of doctor's office. And, of course, my wife lost her sister, so we were down there for that quite a bit, back and forth right before she died, and then she passed away. So it's been kind of hectic, but we need to get with y'all. Don't think we forgot about you. I see all these others come on, Amber, Rick, and Gary. Thank y'all for tuning in. So anyway, it's been doctor days the last 2 days, and then I got Monday I go back to North Carolina to my back doctor and really get my pump filled for my pain pump. It's been installed for 16 years, and so that helps take care of some of the pain in my lower back, and so I have to go for that every 2 months. So it's just been a couple of busy days with doctors, and so we're going to take it easy. We got some company coming in on the weekend. One of our granddaughters is supposed to come up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and stay with us for a couple of days if nothing happens. So we'll be with her, and then Father's Day, of course, is Sunday. Lots going on in the news. You've been watching. I posted this morning about the plane crash in India, and I just reposted a few minutes ago. It is confirmed now. There were 252 on board and only one survivor. Really tragic, we've had more plane crashes in the last few months than in quite a long time, and it's worldwide, not just here in America, and just really a lot of crashes, and that's sad to see so many lives taken, and you wonder how many of them were ready to meet the Lord, and possibly not many. Hey, Ethan, hope you're doing good. And so we need to pray for those families, and I want to talk about this just for a minute. The Bible talks about where Jesus told them, he said, in the last days, he said, men's hearts would fail them for fear. And there's a lot of fearful things happening now that a lot of people are really battling over. They're looking at the world scene, and the world scene right now very unstable. And I'm not being a pessimist now. We're probably right now, hey, Miss Linda, we are probably as close to a nuclear war as we've ever been in my lifetime. I'm just being honest. To a nuclear war between somebody, and we would be involved, I'm sure, because of our being a major power, superpower, that if someone dropped a nuclear bomb anywhere in the world, we would be involved in some form or fashion. But we're as close now. You look at the problem with Ukraine and Russia keeps aggressive action toward Ukraine. Ukraine has become more aggressive in the inland of Russia instead of just fighting on their border. They're launching drones way in deep into Russia, so it's becoming more aggressive. Our men have tried to negotiate peace there, and it's not being very successful. And then you've got the Israeli battle with the Hamas and the other terrorist groups that are backed by Iran. What they call down in the Yemen, that crowd. I mean, just so many things going on. Hey, Miss Melanie, hope you're doing well. But there's just a lot of fearful things, and it's as close to some type of nuclear breakout as ever been. Because Russia's a superpower, China's a superpower, North Korea's now got nuclear weapons. Pakistan and India is in conflict, and our president negotiated a peace treaty between them, at least to stop firing at each other just a few weeks ago. Hey, Rebecca, I'm praying for Reggie today. I prayed for him this morning. And so all these things are happening, and all these countries have nuclear weapons. And then Iran, they said as of yesterday, they're just 2 weeks away from getting the uranium prepared that it could be in weapon form. Just 2 weeks. And it could be in weapon form, and they've got missiles that can carry it. And so our president and his staff has been working, negotiating with Iran, and as of this week, they have pretty well, hey, Miss Cynthia Kimber, hope you're doing good. As of this week, the talks have gone south. They have another meeting on Sunday. But if you heard in the news today that our president and our military has asked for the embassies in Baghdad and other Middle East embassies to go ahead, and any families of workers there in the embassy, or some that were families of military men that are stationed in the Middle East, for those families to self-evacuate. It's not a mandatory evacuation yet, but they're asking them to go ahead and self-evacuate, volunteer to do that from any of the Middle Eastern countries, Qatar, or any of those countries, especially Baghdad, Iraq, next to Iran there. And so we are seeing a lot of volunteers come home from our military families and from our embassy families are coming back to the U.S., and the U.S. military is going to facilitate moving them if we have to. If it becomes a mandatory evacuation, our military is ready to start doing that. And so I read just an article just a few minutes ago on 5 reasons why Iran could be in war and why we could see a military strike in Iran. 5 reasons. And so all the reasons are pretty obvious. And this call to evacuate our embassies and some of our families in the Middle East is a very good sign that something's fixing to happen. The Israeli military is prepared to launch an attack against Iran. Our president has said over and over again, and he said it this morning, they asked him, was there going to be an attack on Iran? He said it looks like it may very well happen. He didn't say it's not imminent. In other words, he didn't say it's going to happen today or tomorrow or next week. But he said it looks like it very well could happen because Iran has taken a different turn in the negotiations. They've turned down every offer that we've had to try to get them to the table to do away with their nuclear refining, to quit doing anything when it comes to uranium. They say they're doing it just for their the use of energy and stuff like that, but no, they're doing weapon grade uranium, and that can be used for military, and we don't want them to process any uranium at all. Russia even stepped to the front this week and said they would be willing to help facilitate the removal of all the uranium from Iran, and then we would let the international board that handles the nuclear program worldwide, that the council that handles that, oversees that, would let them work with the other nations to provide what we call, I guess it'd be like industrial type uranium for some type of electrical companies, for power companies, nuclear reactors and things like that. And so, but that board just today passed a resolution that was accusing Iran of not meeting all the demands of the agreement, in the nuclear agreement. And so that's the first time that's happened in 20 years. So a lot of these things are showing that it looks like inevitable that if this fails Sunday, this last negotiation, if this fails Sunday, I think our president's to the point of saying enough's enough, and he says they're not going to have a weapon. And then Israel's ready to move now. They've been ready to move for weeks. I think President Trump has talked Netanyahu into waiting, giving them a chance to try to negotiate a peaceful settlement. And you'd rather solve it peacefully than you would by attack. But it looks inevitable that Israel is going to attack the nuclear sites in Iran to take away their nuclear capabilities. That's inevitable if Iran doesn't agree to a treaty between now and the next few days. And we know that Israel is ready to attack, but we also know that Israel cannot pull this off by themselves. That's why if you read the latest news, we have placed bombers. Our strategic bombers are now in our military bases there in the Middle East, Qatar, some of the other nations that we have military bases in. We moved our stealth bombers there. We have warships, carriers, along with destroyers in the Persian Gulf, the Mediterranean, and all the waters surrounding the Middle East. We have firepower beyond anything you could imagine. With Patriot missiles, we have ammo dumps there, and some of those bases with those 2,000 pounds and 500 pound bombs that are called bunker busters that can go through the ground and go deep into the ground before they explode, and all of Iran's nuclear capabilities and all of their places where they facilitate this uranium for weapon grade uranium is mostly underground. So it'd have to be done with bunker busters to go underground, and we've got the capabilities of doing that, and so does Israel. So for the last 6 or 8 weeks, we have been strategically moving our military in place for this day. So I'm not a pessimist, and I'm not a warmonger, and I'm not a prophet, and I can't tell you when this is going to happen. But I just know from what I'm seeing, who I'm talking to, and what I'm reading. I talked to a dear friend of mine this morning that's really a strong teacher on Israel, and he understands what's going on. He goes to Washington quite a bit and meets with them there concerning Israel and the nation of Israel. And it looks like that everything, the stage is set, that sooner than later, and I'm going to step out on a limb here, I don't think it'll be months. It may be weeks, but it may very well be days that we're going to see some attack launched on Iran. Because Iran, we cannot afford for a rogue nation like Iran that is run by a mad religious kook, the Ayatollah Khomeini, that is in charge of that nation, that wants to see Israel removed from the face of the earth and the great Satan, the USA, destroyed. We cannot allow a nation of that magnitude and that much power and that much hatred for Israel and for America to develop a nuclear-grade weapon. Just can't do it. Because of their rocket capability, we know they can launch into Israel. They have. And we know that there's already people in place here. We don't know how many. But because of the last administration probably close to 20 million people came across the border, and we don't have any idea where they are. They're scattered in every state in the union. And they're not all just people from other countries coming here to get a job and make better for themselves. Just like in the last week and a half, they've arrested 3 Chinese people that were here, and they brought in biologic chemicals that could destroy our crops. It was a disease that was a biological disease that was created in a laboratory. They were caught with it. They were not just citizens. They were Chinese infiltrators. They were found and arrested, and they called the name of the biotech thing they found them with, and it was capable of being put out into our crops or into our seed, to our food supply, corn, rice, wheat, barley, any of our corn, any of our seed crops. Hey, Miss Joyce. And all of that has the capability of destroying our food supply with a disease. So we know we have Chinese infiltrators. We know we have infiltrators from terrorist countries that are inside our borders now. And so with that being said, that if a war is launched, an attack against Iran, don't be surprised if you see some bombs go off here in the U.S. or some attempted terrorist attacks within our borders, because there are people inside our borders that mean us harm. They came across the border in the last 4 years unrestricted, and they're running loose, and that's who our agents are trying to find now. And the idiots in places like Los Angeles and Chicago and New York, the liberals, are trying to fight our agents and our law enforcement from catching these people that are a threat to our democracy, to our republic, to our freedom, to our families, to our communities. And instead of them wanting to see them removed, they're fighting and attacking and throwing Molotov cocktails and setting buildings on fire and vehicles on fire and destroying property and looting. Isn't that the dumbest thing? You got what the liberals call a peaceful protest, and a bunch of idiots are looting businesses to get free stuff. There's an excuse for them to rob and steal just because somebody's protesting. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Takes me back to the 70s during the riots, during the 60s during the riots, during the Vietnam War. It's just crazy. And so, but I want to talk about this potential attack in Israel. So with that being said, what do? You're sitting here in America, you're listening to this white-haired preacher, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, what do we do? Well, first of all, you need to make sure you're ready to meet the Lord. You need to make sure, first of all, your house is in order. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to get struck by a nuclear weapon and be destroyed, but if our nation goes back into any type of battle, and if we go against Iran, we're helping Israel to do that, it's going to cause the Chinese and the Russians and the North Koreans and the Yemen and some of the other Middle Eastern nations, they're going to be upset. And there's going to be some attack come from places we're not expecting. Because even though we have allies in the Middle East, blood's thicker than water, and those Arab nations will stick together if their Arab brothers are under attack. Hey, Rachel, hope you're doing well. So, first thing you got to do, if these things are imminent, if we are about to see prophecy fulfilled in the Middle East, and if Israel does launch an attack against Iran, then America's going to be pulled into it, because we are Israel's greatest ally. And they cannot do this by themselves. They are the most powerful nation for their size on the face of the earth. But they cannot do this by themselves. They got to have the backing of the U.S. because of the potential attack that would come from other nations that would be upset with this. Hey, Scott, hope you're doing good up in Kentucky. So if they do launch an attack, we're going to be in it. And our president said it was not necessarily imminent, but it looked like it very well could happen. So pray for this meeting Sunday, and pray that somehow or another that the Iranians will come to their senses and will stop a war before it takes place, and realize that the world is not going to let them have a nuclear weapon. If they choose to not give in to these demands, then they're going to suffer consequences. It's going to be terrible disasters for many of those precious people that really don't want this to happen. It's just those leaders that are enforcing their Muslim doctrine of destroying the great Satan and destroying Israel. That is their doctrine. So we need to pray. We need to pray for our leaders, pray for our president. Can you imagine? And I don't care whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent. I really don't care right now. I don't really care. But could you imagine being in his shoes the next few days? He's facing all the stuff he's trying to do here at home. He's got this uprising in Los Angeles with the dumb governor that's working everything he can against him to try to stop the intervention of troops to calm what's going on there in Los Angeles. Stupid. Can you imagine? He's dealing with all this rioting here at home. He's trying to get a bill passed that'll give us the greatest tax break in history and get our nation back to producing again to make us less dependent on all these foreign countries and get us equal again on the trade war with the other countries, that instead of them ripping us off, we can start getting paid with a nice premium for the stuff that we produce instead of having to go to China for everything. He's trying to do all this, and he's trying to stop a stupid war in Russia and Ukraine. He's trying to help Israel clean up Gaza and get Hamas and get these hostages back to their families, whether they're still alive or not, get their bodies returned. And then he's trying to stop Iran, the aggressive nation of Iran, trying to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon that could be the most dangerous nation on the face of God's earth if they get a nuclear weapon, Could you imagine being in his shoes in the next few hours if Israel does say, okay, President Trump, we're launching an attack at such and such hour? Can you imagine being in his shoes and have to make that phone call to CENTCOM and say, okay, Israel's ready to go, we're ready to go, notify all the destroyers, notify the carriers, notify the bombers in Qatar, notify all the particular agencies, Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, notify all of our agencies here in America, CIA, FBI, all of our officers, all of the departments across the country, FBI, all the law enforcement officers, state troopers, tell them to be on alert because something's fixing to happen, and put our nation in a red alert. And we find ourselves fighting against Iran to destroy their nuclear capabilities. Could you imagine having to make that decision and knowing the backlash of our liberals is going to be against him, and the backlash of other nations, that we're standing with Israel, and so many people hate Israel, and we are friends to Israel? Can you imagine being in I don't want to be in his shoes, but it's my responsibility and yours as a Christian. 1 Timothy 2:1. First of all, prayer, supplications, intercession, and giving the thanks be made for all men, especially for kings and those in authority. That's our responsibility. So make sure your house is in order. Make sure you're ready to meet the Lord. Make sure your family and household is ready. Second thing is pray for our nation, for our leaders. Pray for our military men and women that are scattered around the world, especially in harm's way. Pray for all of those men and women, those out in Los Angeles that's defending our federal buildings and trying to help officers there keep peace at the curfew in Los Angeles. Other places are breaking loose. Atlanta had a skirmish, and New York and Chicago. It's just in some of these main liberal states, places where liberals are in control. So pray for them. And we need to pray one for another. Pray one for another. Pray for our churches. It's a very unstable time now. But all of this is part of prophecy. He said these are just the beginning of sorrows, nation against nation. Famines, earthquakes in diverse places. All of this is the beginning of sorrows. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many will wax cold. All of this is prophecy. Knowing the last days, perilous times shall come. This prophecy. This is all being fulfilled. And the next thing on God's calendar is the rapture. And he could come anytime. He may come before any of this happens. But I really believe we're about to see something take place that's going to be something that you and your children, your grandchildren, are never going to forget. But we're living in my lifetime. I'm 69. In my lifetime, I've never seen our nation as close to a nuclear war. The closest, I guess, in my lifetime was in '63, whenever Russia put missiles in Cuba, and where President Kennedy had to back down Russia and said, we're not going to have missiles. We're not going to have you in our back door just a few miles across the water there to Cuba. We're not going to have you there. You can't do it. He was ready to launch full-out war to the island of Cuba to destroy Russia. Hey, Ronnie and Susan, hope you're doing well. So that's the closest that I remember in my lifetime of a possible nuclear war or missile attack. But we're there now, and with what's going on in the Middle East, and with everything being set, Israel, the Defense Force now is ready. They are ready. They are prepared for this hour, and they're ready. And the only reason they've not already launched an attack on Iran, I believe, is because our president is begging them to wait and give us every chance we can to try to negotiate peace with Iran. And it looks like Iran's going to turn down all of our offers. They've turned down all of our offers so far. So you've got 252 on a plane, all of them dead but one in India this morning. You've got the mess going on in Los Angeles and other places. Riots are breaking out. And, you know, the liberals say they're peaceful riots. You know, give me a break. Cars being burned up, officers being wounded from frozen water bottles and Molotov cocktails, and buildings being destroyed and looted. It's not a peaceful protest. It's all and all out anarchy against our government, against our leaders, against our way of life, and people waving other national flags and burning the American flag. That bothers me. I'm telling you, it bothers me as a preacher, as a citizen. It bothers me. I hope I'm not around somewhere where somebody's waving a foreign flag and burning our flag. I hope I can control myself, but I believe the American flag. I believe I put the fire out, and I believe the other national flag would be removed, and it may be the one in the fire. I can't stand that. Defacing our flag. It ought to be a crime. The president said this morning it ought to be a year in jail for burning the flag. I believe that. Our flag is sacred. I've got family members, and you do too. I got friends that died fighting for our freedoms, for this republic, for our representative body that we call a republic. Some call it a democracy, but democracy means you're ruled by the people. But we have a republic as a representative body. Yes, we have a voice as the people, but we vote representatives in to represent us. That's why we have 435 congressmen from every district. There's a congressman, and states that have more population have more congressmen, but every state has 2 senators, so all the states are equally represented by 2 senators, but in each state they have a representative based on the population. But 435 representatives, so every district is represented by one person who represents his district of every how many hundreds of thousands of people, and then every state is represented by 2 senators, so it's equality. That is these 3 branches of government, the executive, the judicial, and then the legislative. And that makes an equal power. And so we are a representative body called a republic. And it's the most greatest organized nation, and the test of all of time, one of the greatest national tests for a nation to be a republic, a democratic republic, if this ever existed in the history of man. 250 years next year that we've been a country, and God's been good to us, and we want to maintain that. But we need to pray for our people that are trying to stop the squells of anarchy in our country. Pray for our leaders up in Washington as they make serious decisions concerning us and our future. Pray for our military. Pray for our secretaries of defense and our secretaries, all the ones in leader, the FBI director, CIA, all of these people in the national security, everything, Homeland Security, all of these leaders, we need to pray for them. They got a tough job. All of our generals, over the staff, our general staff that's over all the military, Navy, Army, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. So we just need to pray. We need to pray for our leaders, pray one for another, and just be ready for whatever happens. Keep looking up, stay in the book. And so I just want to come on here and talk about that a little bit and give you an update on my doctor's report. It's like I say, everything, I'll get my report back from my test tomorrow, but the blood work was bad this morning. My blood count was really low. My blood pressure was super low, but he said it was from yesterday's procedure and said that should get better. So I'll get my PSA levels tomorrow. And so if it's good, we're good to go for another 3 months. And then I have a scan coming up in September to check and make sure the cancer is still gone and under control. So just pray all that goes well and pray that my PSA is still almost non-existent. And so, and then tomorrow night at 7, Friday night at 7, Get my days mixed up. Tomorrow night at 7, we'll be on again with our 3M Institute broadcast. 3M stands for Mentoring Men in Ministry, but this teaching I'm going through now is not just for men, but I'm dealing with the doctrine of interpretation, how to interpret the Bible. We've covered quite a few. We've covered numbers. We've covered the three classes of people, Jew, Gentile, and church. We've covered the dispensations. But tonight I'm going to deal with a subject called the discrimination principle. Now, not discrimination in the sense that you discriminate against races, but how the Bible teaches us that we're to discriminate against some things in our breaking down the Bible. In other words, where God makes a difference, we're to make a difference. I'll give you a couple examples. We are to make a discriminatory difference between grace and law. There's a difference. There's also a difference between Israel and the church. You have to use discrimination. When you're interpreting the Bible, there's a discrimination practice and a principle we use to discriminate. What that simply means is we make a difference where God makes a difference. If God says there's a difference between faith and law, or works and faith, or law and grace, or Israel and the church, there's a lot of differences, distinguishes, and the principle is called the discrimination principle. I'll deal with that tomorrow night at 7 o'clock here on my Facebook page. If you're not a follower, be sure and follow. We hit 125,000 followers this morning in a little over 2 weeks. I'm trying to get up to almost 200,000 followers in 1 month. So I've got about a week and a half to go, so help me do that. Keep following us. If you're not a follower, hit the following button and follow us. If you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, go to our YouTube channel. You can find it on my Facebook page, or you can just go to Dr. David Harrison, and you'll see my picture at the top. It's subscribe. It's a brand new page. It's got messages. It's got the devotional, water from the well. It's got some other stuff on there. And then I'm in the process now of downloading hundreds of messages that will be downloaded to the YouTube page. Some will be DVDs, the rest will be CDs to listen to, messages from my past, hundreds of messages. And so be a subscriber to my YouTube page. That will help me out tremendously. And keep viewing everything you can on my Facebook page. Stay in touch with me. View my posts, view my reels, view my videos. And all of that helps me because I need to reach about at least 10 to 15,000 followers here in the next couple months, and I need to get up to about 250,000 views every month to accomplish what I'm trying to do here in the next few months as we build our Facebook and our social media. I'm not able to travel at this time and preach like I have all these years, and so the Lord gave me peace a couple weeks ago to develop my social media outreach. So we created a YouTube page, we're pushing this Facebook page. We're doing everything we can to bring good stuff to you, good sermons, good teaching, good music, keep up with the news and what's going on in current events. So I'm trying to make it interesting that will keep you coming back to my Facebook page and keep you informed as a Christian and as a citizen what you're supposed to do, how you should pray. So be sure and do that, and the more you do, the better off it helps me. And if you're not a follower, if you have friends and family that are not followers, tell them to go and follow. I've got just maybe space for 30 more friends, and I save that for special people. I try to clean it off every now and then, people that have died, passed away, or that no longer have the Facebook page. I clean those off, but I think I've got room for 30 or 40 friends, so I'm not taking any friends right now. I'm just about maxed out, but I can have all the followers that I can get. So help me. It will help me if you will follow me, and it will help me if you'll subscribe on YouTube. Please do that. Hey, Miss Patricia, I hope you're doing well. Well, I'm going to get off here. I just want to come out of here on the back porch and talk to you just for a little bit. I didn't bring a guitar today. I'm not going to sing today. I just want to come and kind of tell you about the doctor's visits the last 2 days. I think the back procedure yesterday, I think it's going to work. I am in much less pain today in my back than I've been in several months. So I think the shot is going to help. And then I meet my doctor again Monday. We're going to discuss possibly doing a trial on a spinal stimulator that will help me with my back pain. And so we're going to discuss that as a possibility. So pray for me in that. And so I'm not traveling right now. I've got some meetings already scheduled for this fall. And so I'll be doing some meetings this fall, and I may do a Sunday or two this summer. But as for right now, I have nothing immediate that I'm doing. So I'm concentrating on my social media, and I'm concentrating on my books. I've got all of my books, my manuscripts from up in London, Ontario, from my printer. So they are now in the hands of someone that is going to help me. We're going to fix to get them all on Amazon. They'll be on Kindle, and they'll be in paperback edition. And then my new book, I'm waiting for the final 3 chapters to read. They haven't come to me yet. They're supposed to be here yesterday or today. Haven't got them yet, but as soon as I get those 3 chapters, read them, the written part of the book will be done. We've got pictures yet to do. I'm getting testimonials in every day. If you've not written a testimony and sent it to me, I need you to do that. Write just a brief testimony about something in our ministry that has impacted your life. If you got saved or called to preach, or I was your pastor, or you were in some of my meetings, write a brief testimony, send it to me. We'll put it in the book of the testimonial section. And then once we go through the pictures, the lady has got my book cover design. I'm waiting to get a copy of that to see it and approve it. So the book is going well. It should be going to the printers very, very soon. And we'll be pre-selling the hardbacks. And then the paperback will go on Amazon for sale. The hardbacks will be sold by us only and by Voice of Hope Ministry. So a lot of things are happening, so we're staying busy trying to get that done. So right now we're staying at home and working in the office and getting this done. And so pray for us. Thank you for tuning in just for a few minutes on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you have a great day. It's a beautiful day in here in East Tennessee. I hope it's beautiful where you are. Be careful. Be safe. Keep in prayer. Watch the news. Be prepared. We may see something happen of astronomical proportion, of almost apocalyptic proportion in the next few days, no doubt in the next few weeks. If Israel launches an attack against Iran, America's going to be brought into it. So keep your eyes and ears open. Make sure your family is prepared. Make sure you're praying for our leaders to make the right decisions. Be in church in your place. Stay in the book. Stay on your knees. Let's trust God. Let's pray for one another. As a friend of mine always says, all we got in this world is God and each other. So pray for each other. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for our broadcast on the discrimination principle of how to interpret the Bible. God bless you and all. Love you.